I had heard of the band Kiss before, but I had never heard them. Not until I went to the library. That's right, the library. Hello, everybody. My name is Bishop Friesch, and welcome to My Life Through Music. This next song, and band for that matter, that really opened my eyes in so many ways was Do You Love Me by Kiss, released in 1976 from the Destroyer album, which also had a bunch of other cool songs that I'm going to touch on a little bit, but I'm going to focus mainly on this particular song. And this song, Do You Love Me, is rock and roll, man. It's rock and roll. You start with the drums, and when you listen to it, you'll know what I'm talking about. You start off with the drums, and then quickly following, you've got Paul Stanley basically yelling into the microphone. And I think there might be a reason for that, and it's just an idea. But he's got a lot of singing styles, and I'll touch a little bit on that in just a few minutes. But he's kind of yelling, as I mentioned. But to me, with this tone and his attitude, it sounds like he's trying to make a point. He wants to be heard, not just because it's rock and roll, but it appears that he's talking to and addressing an individual or maybe even a group of people. And it's almost like sarcasm mixed in with a little bit of bitterness or even contempt. But just listen to it. I mean, he's talking about things like, like limousines and going to the shows. And he even talks about my 7-inch leather heels. And I'm listening to this at 9 years old, and I'm taking this in, and I'm like, what? 7-inch leather heels? Wait. And I'm looking at the album cover, and he, along with the rest of the band, they're wearing these heels, these big platform shoes. And it's like 7-inch leather heels. He's wearing them on an album cover. He's singing about it on a record that everybody can hear. And he doesn't care. He doesn't care. He doesn't care what I think. He doesn't care what you think. He doesn't care what anybody who's listening to the record thinks. And I thought that was really profound. And even at 9 years old, with my fragile eggshell mind, I thought that was really cool. This guy don't care what anybody thinks about what he's wearing, what he's doing, what he's singing. And that is the epitome of rock and roll, man. And all of music, for that matter. But to me, it's predominantly in rock and roll. Here I am. This is it. This is what I sing. This is how I play. Take it or leave it. I don't care. And I love that. I absolutely love that. And yeah, they're wearing makeup and, they're wearing costumes, and that's all part of it. But this was the first time that I really saw an example of somebody saying something, like my 7-inch leather heels, and really sticking by it and standing on it. And I thought that was really cool. I don't care what you think. This is me. And it made a very big impression on me early in life. And I tried. It took me a long time. I'm still working on it. But I tried to develop that in my life. And that is, don't worry about what other people think or what other people like. Worry about what you think and what you like. And at the end of the first verse, he yells out, he's going on with, you really like my limousine, you like the way the wheels roll, you like my 7-inch leather heels and going to all the shows. But, and he yells into the microphone, but, and it got this echo effect, and it sounds really cool. But, do you love me? And I think that's really cool. And he goes through the song continuously, talking about and referring to all the things that encompass rock and roll and the rock and roll lifestyle, like credit cards and private planes and hotels, fancy clothes, and all this stuff, and on and on and on. But check it out. Even with all of those things, he still needs to know one thing, and that is, do you love me? Something that, famous rock stars, especially famous rock stars, struggle with. Because how do you know? You're famous, you've got money, you've got, all these, extra things in life, and people hang out, they hang on, and they want to be around you, and they want stuff from you. And, sometimes you have to ask yourself, are you around me for what I can give you or what you can get by being around me? Or is it because you really love me? And, I'm sure they struggle with that. And it's kind of odd, a rock star has to, say, wait a minute, I can give you all this stuff, but hold on, Anyways, but also in addition to that, I want you to notice how he's kind of breathing and just kind of, like making noises and sounds with his mouth in the microphone while he's singing the song. And it kind of reminds me of another lead singer that I'm going to talk about a little bit down the road. But listen to kind of some of the noises and sounds that he makes. I think it's really cool. So what does the library have to do with Kiss and any of this? Well, my mom, in addition to, music and stuff, another thing she really loved to do was read books. And she used to like two different kinds of books. She used to like romance novels, and she used to love true crime stories. And I was just like, what? And, go figure. And she also loved horror movies, which is kind of a side thing. But, I remember the first time I actually saw Friday the 13th, the original one, the very first one. I saw it with her. She loved horror movies, and she wanted us to watch them with her, and I don't know why, but maybe it was to introduce us to them, or maybe because she felt better because someone else was around. I don't know, but she loved the suspense, Anyways, from time to time, she would take us to the library so she can get, more books, because she read quite a bit. And there were two libraries that I remember us going to, and I honestly can't remember exactly where one of them was, so I'm not going to try to explain it. But I remember there was one over by Paradise Valley Mall. And it was, I want to say, towards the northwest end of the big parking lot, close to the big loop that goes around. You know how loops go around big malls so you can kind of access different areas? Well, it was on that edge there. And I remember us going to the library, but check this out. At that library, and I'm sure there was others, you could check out books, but you could also check out record albums. Yeah, man, you could check out record albums, and they would come in this real thick plastic to protect, the album covers, and you could check it out just like a book, And so I remember when we were there one day, I was over there and I'm looking at the record albums set up, displayed, almost like going to remember when we used to go to the video store, they'd have the covers set up and you could just pick the cover. And so I saw the Kiss, Destroyer cover, and I grabbed it and I went over, to my mom. I found her, where she was looking. I said, "Hey, Mom, I want to check this out. I want to take it home because I want to listen to it." And, she picked it up and she looked at it and she's like, okay, And I want to say one thing about my mom and my dad. My mom never, ever, never said no to music when I started listening to other things and wanted to listen to something else, or if I wanted her to buy me something, she never said no. She never censored me from any kind of music, no matter what it talked about, no matter what the cover art looked like. She never said no. And I really appreciated that because it gave me a chance to really explore without looking over my shoulder or wondering, what they think. It was a blank check. And I know I benefited from it. And my dad, he would actually, when I got older and I was listening to, other things like Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne and, Dio and all that stuff, which is, really serious lyrics, he would come in from time to time, and Iron Maiden too, he would sit down and we'd go through the lyrics as an exercise, and he would ask me questions. He'd say, what does this mean to you? How do you feel about, this little stanza right here? Things like that. And we'd have conversations about it, and I would tell him the truth, and he would listen to me, and they'd say, okay, but they never said no. They never stopped me from listening to any music that I wanted to listen to, and I really appreciated it. And so, they never said you can't listen to that, you can't listen to this type. They never did that. But getting back to Kiss Destroyer album, there's a couple of other songs on there that really made an impression on me. And when I first got it and I took it home, what I usually do is when I get a record, I would take it home and I would put it on, put the needle on, and I would just let it go. I let that side go and play the whole thing and listen. And then I turn it over and then let the other side play. Listen to it once, and then when I found songs I really liked, I'd play them over and over and over again. But how would I know what songs I like if I didn't listen to the whole record first? So I'm going through it for the first time, and I love, Do You Love Me? And you get to Beth, and I'm like, I was across my room. I remember I was across my room, and Beth comes on, and I'm like, what? Whoa, what happened? And I can't remember what was before that. I can't remember what, but it was like, you got this piano, and then you've got, this, it sounded like an orchestra or strings. I'm like, what? No yelling? No heavy guitars? It was really different. But I listened to it, and then I went back to it, and I listened to it again and again and again, and I started to, kind of figure out contextually, in my 9-year-old mind, what they were talking about. And it was really cool to me. I thought rock stars were put on this earth to make records, go in concerts, and entertain us, And again, it's a 9-year-old's thinking. But here, they're singing about girlfriends or wives, a home, and missing people and being missed. And then I started to understand, again, it's coming from a 9-year-old, that rock stars, they're real people too, and they have lives, and they have feelings, and they have emotions. And maybe some of them at that time had kids, And so it really, really made me think, and it was very, I was very impressionable, and it made a huge difference in how I listened to music and what I actually listened for. And just like with the opposite with Detroit Rock City, that's totally going the other way, which is awesome. And so I listened to Detroit Rock City, and I can totally identify when it says, I hear my song and it pulls me through. I got so many songs like that for different situations, different times. I got playlists, all that stuff. And I can identify with that, But also when it says, I gotta laugh because I know I'm gonna die. Why? At age 9, you don't really think about dying. At least I didn't. I didn't think about dying. But immediately after it says, I know I'm gonna die, and he asks why, and I thought about that for, a while. He knows he's going to die, and he asks why. And I thought about that for a long, long time. And it changed throughout the years. And I'm going to touch on that theme, that idea, from time to time throughout this little project, probably sooner rather than later. And then one more song by Kiss, that I want to just touch on. I know there's a lot, but Forever, released in 1990. I really, really do love that song. That song, it's a ballad, it's a love song, it's beautiful, and to me, it shows their talent and their range and their diversity and what they can do. I mean, it's rock and roll, and they can do it all. They can do it all. So that is how one random trip to the library really changed my perspective, changed the music I was listening to, and really opened my mind and my life. And this is why these songs are where they are in my Life Through Music playlist. And I really encourage you to check these out. I mean, they are different in their own special way, but they're Kiss, and they're great, and they're awesome. And when you get a chance, I'm going to put a link for all of them down below, so you can go right to it, check them out, or later on, if they're in your playlist or in your library or whatever platform, go check them out, man, because they're awesome. They are awesome. And like always, I appreciate you spending a few moments of your time with me talking about music. I know your time is valuable, so I've done enough talking for today, but I appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.